Fellow Ambazonians, my name is Milton Taka. I am an Ambazonian. Today, I wish to make a statement on the gruesome killings our community has been subjected to in the past 48 hours. The interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and all Ambazonians condemn in the strongest of terms the fatal shooting at close range of the 4-month baby Ngum Mata in her sleep by the Cameroon regime's death squad, the Rapid Intervention Brigade. Beyond the eyewitness accounts, including that of the mother of baby Ngum Mata, contrary to the statement published by the Cameroon Ministry of Communications claiming she was shot with a hunting rifle, preliminary tests on the 10 bullets retrieved from the body of the dead baby and on the shell casings found on the floor of the room where she was sleeping demonstrate that the ammunition belonged to the bee. This has been confirmed by a respectable human rights organization, Central Africa Human Rights Defenders Network, known by the French acronym as Red Hack. Baby Neba Mata Mbu, rest in peace. Ambazonia mourns you. The people of the southern Cameroons mourn you. You were born on the 14th of December 2018. How more wicked could the world be? To baby Mata's mother, Agbo Emilia, and father, Foni Zephania Neba, stand strong. We know how painful this is. We've heard of your story. You lost a child. This was the hope you had been looking for such a long time. To the people of Moyoka, the whole of Ambazonia mourns with you. We remember what you did on the 22nd of September 2017. The day we sent a strong message to the world that the people of Ambazonia have completely moved away from a country where they were treated as second-class citizens, and all they aspire and look forward to is their home, their own country, a place they could call home, called Ambazonia. Moyoka, you rose up on that day. You were the #1 community in the whole of Ambazonia, including in the diaspora. You inspired so many people to stand up on that day and fight for Ambazonia. It is because of your bravery till this day that this struggle is quite on track. I can see light at the end of the tunnel. I can see light at the end of the tunnel. But this is the darkest moment in our struggle. Our deepest condolences go out to the baby's family, Mata's entire family, the community, and all others affected by this incomprehensible act. No matter what political position one has, there is no possible way for anyone to argue that such a horrific crime could move any agenda forward. The Cameroon government, the colonial French Cameroon government, has rather focused on condemning reports of eyewitness and human rights organizations reporting that the government B was responsible for the killings. We expect and await an equally strong condemnation from the terrorist Cameroon government in Yaoundé and from international organizations invested in upholding human rights and pursuing peace around the world. We expect all of them to join with us in asking, how could such a thing happen? Who are the soldiers behind this? Have they been properly vetted and trained? Are they abusing illicit substances that would impair their moral judgment? Answers from the colonial terrorist Cameroon government are not sufficient because they are not trusted. The only way for such answers to be determined is through independent international fact-finding investigations. And we call on the good conscience of the world to rise up and ensure there's justice for Mata. Equally, the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and all Ambazonians condemn reports of a gruesome beheading which allegedly took place in Quen on the 21st of May 2019. Heartless beheading. At present, our preliminary investigations confirm it is the handiwork of La République du Cameroun militia to cover up just one day afterwards for the gruesome, brutal killing of baby Mata. We know her ghost would haunt everybody involved down to the last day they leave this earth. We are quite concerned by many details of the situation of this beheading which do not seem to add up. Like the fact that his Cameroonian identification seems to have been issued the same day the alleged crime happened. So can we begin to ask important questions like, who issued the identity card? At what time was the identity card issued? What were his movements from that point? Perpetrators of this heinous crime masterminded by evil minds while speaking raw French in a dark room before their inhuman, senseless act of beheading a yet to be identified victim will be investigated to the core. La République du Cameroun war crimes against humanity will never go unpunished. We promise every single Ambazonian. La République du Cameroun will pay for all its crimes. We will continue to seek answers to these questions. But regardless of the answers, we can say without reservation that the particular brutality with which this killing, this beheading was carried out is not helpful. And such actions will move ours or the cause for which colonial Cameroon stands for backwards. As we struggle to make sense of both these crimes, we call on all Ambazonian people everywhere to exercise restraint. Please exercise restraint. There are quite likely motives and variables at play that we cannot see at present. We must remember that there are forces that are trying to distract us from our legitimate struggle for independence and self-determination. And we must insist that we will not be distracted. Our enemy is not the people of La République du Cameroun. Our enemy is the colonial government, the parasite colonial government that is currently in control, and its military, its militias, and its political backers. Many of our citizens struggle under very difficult situations. Houses have been burnt. They don't go to school. Even hospitals and churches burned. The case of Mancon. What is sacrilege? We likewise call on allies in French Cameroon to exercise restraint and call for restraint within their communities. call for their sons and daughters that are military people, that the forces of nature never fail. That for every single Ambazonian is illegally killed by their terrorist children, we will come for them one after another. There is a long history of European colonizers, and the French in particular, intervening in Africa's righteous struggles like ours by setting communities against each other. We are bigger. We are bigger. We must never fall for that. Let us not go down this path. Let us find our common ground and stand in solidarity against oppression and senseless war. My fellow people, whatever you do on a daily basis, I call upon you to put Ambazonia first. Put Ambazonia first. Because when we put Ambazonia first, there is no force in this world that will stop us from reaching Boya. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We can make it, and we can make it much quicker. For this to happen, there are additional things that should define how we conduct ourselves. Number one amongst them is unity. Even the Bible says when the people are united, there is no force that can stand against them. This is a moment of reflection. While we go through the transition from the old cabinet to the new cabinet, I, as an ordinary Ambazonian, call this a moment of reflection. We must ask ourselves, why have we not been able to collaborate? Can we collaborate? Yes. Are there reasons why we have not been unified? Yes. Let's go back to the drawing board. We have the capacity to do that. I have the will. If you have the will, we will cross the river together. We are fighting for Boya. We are fighting for free Ambazonia. We only have one enemy. The enemy is La République du Cameroon. I call upon you all. Please, let's unite for Ambazonia. If we are united, the pain we have in our society will disappear. Fellow Ambazonians, we have a duty to create a caring society. All for one, one for all. All for one, one for all. Listen, when we got into this in 2016 and escalated in 2017 and said, done with La République, we knew that every single Ambazonian will be their brother and sister's keeper. I now challenge you. You saw the carnage that took place at Mile 8 in Mancon, where the brutal terrorist forces took the pleasure of burning down tens and tens of houses. Like the Vice President Comrade said the other day, I can still feel so much pain when I heard the old woman saying, my husband died, leaving me with 5 children and this house. This is all I've got to collect rents and feed these children. My people, where is that poor mother as we speak? Where has she been sleeping over the last few days? Where have her children been sleeping? What have they been eating? I ask you, fellow Ambazonian, you based in Mancon, in Bamenda, you in Moyoka, you in Mamfi, I ask you in the US, you in Europe, in Africa, have you for once asked yourself, can I send $100 down to this woman in particular? Have we done that? We will go to Boya if we have a caring society. Have you checked what the descendants of Mami Apia are going through after her gruesome being burned down in her house because she could not run away from the terrorist forces? The latest case is our baby, Neba Martambo. My heart bleeds. I couldn't stand the images. I still cannot imagine the whole. It's like a gulf. It's like an ocean in her brain. It's so scary. It's so scary. It is a fact we will never ever forget baby Neba Matambu. We will never forget her. In a free Ambazonia, there will be a university named after her. There will be a road, a stadium named after her. She stands out as one of the greatest symbols of our resistance, even though she did not even know what resistance was. But the bigger question to us as Ambazonians is, what have we done to help? What have we done to help the parents and families of our brother Akum Julius, who was gruesomely slaughtered by these terrorist forces, and the many others? You know, when I reflect about our restoration forces and I hear them singing, until we reach Boyam, until we reach Boyam, I get tears running down my face. Because when they left home, they told their mothers, oh mother, don't you worry. Oh father, don't you worry. If I happen to die in the battlefield, never worry, we shall meet again. I want you to see yourself as the mom, the dad, the brother, sister, family of these courageous boys God gave us. Just imagine a young boy singing this to the mom when he's going out, listening to his heart and saying, the only thing I can do is put Ambazonia first. And to put Ambazonia first, it means I must give up my life for the sake of Ambazonia. Do you ever ask yourself, what do you do to make sure that this unbelievable courage is sustained? I ask myself daily, God, where did these courageous brothers and sisters of ours come from? Were they really Ambazonians? Where did they come from? What was their heart before we said Ambazonia is a free country? Could it be God prepared special men and women for this hour to tell us it is possible? How can you be in the diaspora and yet you are not even willing to show your face on the screen? You are not willing to contribute money and put your name on it. You are not even willing to stand in front of an embassy and say enough is enough. Really? I'm now speaking to the diaspora. Really? Now witchcraft Oweti. I want you to ask yourself this. When is the last time you contributed to this struggle? I have made it a policy that for anything that is good, I will contribute. When we launched my trip to Boya, I contributed big because I knew that that was the right thing to do. When our leader recently called and said, listen, our brothers in the bushes, our brothers and sisters in refugee camps and scattered in jails across the country do not have medication. They don't have food. They are losing hope. Raise money. Let's make our people know it is possible. I contributed big. I do not contribute because I have. I contribute because it is the right thing to do. I want to challenge you in the diaspora, and I want to speak to you again. You are not on ground zero. You have no idea what our people go on a daily basis. You cannot continue to prosecute this revolution as though it's a love affair. No! War was declared on us. We must defend our people. You cannot defend your people by making noise on social media. No! I refuse to be part of that group. Contribute. There are only three things you in the diaspora can do. In your safe havens in the diaspora, you can contribute every week and every month. That's number one. Number two, you can attend meetings and most importantly, go to rallies where we advocate for our freedom. That is cheap. You pay nothing to do that. And the third one, if you are empowered with diplomatic skills, you can knock doors. Because people don't know our story. How many times should I say that? You need to knock doors of political parties, knock doors of embassies, knock doors of NGOs, TV stations, newspapers. You need to do that. If you do not tell the story, nobody will. I am challenging everybody in the diaspora. Let us be ashamed of ourselves and stand up. Let us be ashamed of ourselves and stand up. Look at our boys on the ground and ask yourself, are you honest to this struggle? Are you honest to this struggle? Fellow countrymen, the diaspora can do better. I come here as an oracle of the struggle. I come here as an ordinary Ambazonian son. And I challenge communities in the diaspora, whether they be regions or whether they be counties. I challenge you, stand up. Take statistics of all Ambazonians in your different communities, and on a monthly basis, tally how much they've contributed in this struggle. When we get to Boya, we will need the tally. We will need the tally. We will need the tally. Ground Zero needs you. Get off social media. Get off shooting yourself in the foot every day in the name of attacking other leaders. I challenge you. Next message to the diaspora. Many of you truly do not know what fighting freedom is. You know why? Because you sleep in your safe houses. You drive to work and you make money on a daily basis, and you drive back home. I ask you to show respect for incarcerated people and leaders. I ask you to show respect for incarcerated leaders and people. If I must remind you, if I'm to pick the Naira 10 as an example, we have a professor inside. We have a good number of doctors inside. We have a good number of barristers inside. These are the finest men of all societies. These people gave up all for our collective freedom. Your freedom and my freedom. Let me repeat that again. These are the finest of all societies. These people gave up all for your freedom and my freedom. And what do? You manufacture stories and put them out there. You drag them into mud. You put them under the bus. You forget that they love lucrative professions where they were earning good money and taking care of their families and communities to save you from being a slave, to save you from being a second-class citizen. They gave you a voice to talk because most of you started talking when they were incarcerated. And you have the audacity to cartoon some of them, and especially the leader of this revolution, His Excellency Sisiko Ayok Tabe. You have the audacity to write trash about him. God forbid. I come here as a messenger of peace. I ask you to watch your ways. Watch your ways. I see light at the end of the tunnel, but we mustn't be our own enemies. Let me remind you that when Justice Ebong, the then chair of the SCNC, was locked up, Pa Fongala, who's currently in jail as one of the Naira 10, was encouraged to take over the chairmanship of the SCNC. He said over his dead body. He said, if I take over the chairperson of the SCNC, it means I've buried Justice Ebong. He organized the SCNC, and they voted Justice Ebong, who was in jail under La Republic captivity, as their chairperson. That is wisdom. Because with that, you protect them in jail. With that, you get the face of the revolution to easily market the revolution. Our leaders in jail will attract more international attention than you and I that make a lot of noise. So my message to the Restoration Council. We read your letters. You equally know that we have pronounced quite significantly that as the Restoration Council, from when you were created, you have never played your role. Your role is that of oversight. Classic example, for instance, is you said let there be an audit. There's no audit. You've met no real statement. Have you? If you have, tell the Ambazonian people. Your chairman came and said the list of Comrade Sako's new 73-man cabinet has not been vetted. It was announced. Again, you have made no statement. My question to you, the Restoration Council, is who are you serving? Are you serving individuals or are you serving the people of Ambazonia? I have this message for you. The people gave their trust in you and you betrayed it. I want to warn again, I speak as the oracle of the people. The people gave their trust in you and you betrayed it. The people have taken away their trust. The right thing to do is to remember that the people have asked you to dissolve yourself. Do it for your own sanity. Let me remind you that in the history of the Southern Cameroons, there are names and there are names. You better get into the good books. If you choose the bad books, you are going to make your generation after generation cursed. I want to remind you as I speak to all Ambazonians. Surrogates. If you are a surrogate, you know yourself by name. You know what you're doing is very wrong. You know what you're doing is killing people on ground zero. You know what you're doing is discouraging people from their struggle. You know what you're doing is promoting wrong against right. My fellow Ambazonians, please tonight, tell yourself, surrogacies come to an end. We remember the biblical verse of the prodigal son. We know some of you by name, but I want to promise you, this is a transitional time. It is a time for all of us to put the past behind us. Can we put the past behind us? Yes, we can. And when we do that, that is putting Ambazonia first. I ask you to stand down. I ask you to stand down. Activist, I know who an activist should be. I live in South Africa, the land of the great Nelson Mandela and Julius Malema. The land where you've got some of the greatest women fighters, Mama Winnie Mandela. The land where you've got some of the greatest activists, Bishop Desmond Tutu. I know who an activist is. You need to make a choice. Whether you want to be a politician or you want to be an activist. Fellow country people, this is not the time for politics. This is not the time for politics. You cannot be doing politics while our people are killed daily. No, no, and no. This is not time for politics. Politicians, beware. We see through you. This is the time to serve, not to be served. This is the time to serve, not to be served. This is not the time for positions. Some of us are beginning to think that no Ambazonian should ever be called His Excellency again. I think some of these ministerial posts have equally gone into some people's heads. Let us just call ourselves comrades. Let us just call ourselves comrades and serve our people. You need to make a choice. Do you want to serve Ambazonia or do you want to glorify positions? Woe betide you if you choose to glorify positions. I want us to remember we've buried enough. We don't want this war to continue. Our fathers and mothers have buried enough. For us to stop burying our people, we must do the right thing. To my brother, Comrade Sako, you have put in your best. I want to remind you that when you fired me out of office, the act itself was illegal and unconstitutional. But what did I do? I put Ambazonia first. At the time when so many thought I was going to fight you, I knew your decision was wrong. I knew your decision was because I stood against you disunifying our people. I stood against you closing SCBC. I stood against wrong decisions you took. But even though I knew the decisions were wrong, what did I decide to do? I stayed quiet because I put Ambazonia first. And I left the position. When I did, I continued serving our struggle. I have done so much work in diplomacy, in raising funds and so on. That is under your administration. You know that the interim government is broke. You know that when we took over the IG from Sisiko, it was so united. We only fought against other movements. Currently, the IG has been torn apart. Restoration Council dysfunctional, every strong voice taken out. House of Country coordinators, you have divided into two. You have the House of Country coordinators, authentic. You have the House of Surrogates. We expected you to stand out and say this is not right. What did you do? You sent people who like disunity to go and endorse them. And you have been endorsing the letters they send. But as an ex-acting president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Comrade Sako, I ask you to take a leaf from my example. Do not be remembered for choosing to divide a child. Do not be remembered for choosing to divide a child. The decision taken by His Excellency Sisiko to dissolve your government, it came, and I want Ambazonians to listen very well, after 9 months, or rather 8 months of working so hard to support your government and unify the IG. You know very well that when the civil society called in October, and eventually we had the APNC conceived by a house under you, the House of County Representatives, and it became an umbrella organization for the voices of Ambazonia that are IG, core IG people. You know very well that 3 letters were sent to you on the 6th of December, 10th of December, on the 13th of December, that Mr. President, get the Restoration Council, get your cabinet, get the House of Country Reps to talk to each other so that we can unify the IG inside, go out and bring in the AGC, the SO, everybody, because Ambazonia is for all of us. Your government refused unity. Your government refused unity. When a meeting was called that had all IG stakeholders, your cabinet, the House of Country Reps, the ASC, which is our military wing, the Restoration Council, and our leaders in jail. A vote was taken that the APNC, which is the civil society of the IG, and the cabinet should not organize 2 conferences. Again, your government chose disunity over unity. These are uncontestable facts. These are uncontestable facts. I presented in 2 of the meetings, and it was very clear that while you were not there, you deployed your lieutenants with a clear message: don't unify. And that led to Philadelphia and Germany happening. Fellow leader of our people, it is time for you to do the right thing. The reason why you need to retire as acting president, serve Ambazonians as an ordinary citizen like I have done, or take back your position within the government, is because 1, you failed to unify our people. 2, the current interim government is broke, and without money you cannot command anybody. 3, let us not pretend and hide behind local government and counties. The truth about that strategy is all man for himself, God for we all. We need a federal Marshall Plan. We need to have coordination. You cannot have coordination when you do not have resources. So the decision taken by the president was in consultation with all of these stakeholders. There was a vote in jail. The statements that President Sisiko took it individually, it's a lie from the pit of hell, and you all know that. Secondly, the accusations that President Sisiko wants to rule from jail are false, complete false. Hear from me. Because you are locked up, there are great limitations. But you can give directives. Nelson Mandela did, and many other leaders did. We do have a vice president, Comrade Yerima. That is the new face and leader of this revolution. And I would like Ambazonians to know that among many reasons, there are 3 reasons that make Comrade Yerima stand out. 1, Comrade Yerima was our logistics commander of the DOD. He is connected to every county. Don't forget, he is connected to every county. Comrade Yerima is currently the acting Secretary General of the SCNC. The SCNC is the mother organization of this struggle. It could contest that with the Republic of Ambazonia, but bottom line is they have a special place in our history. The AGC and SCYL are babies from there, we all know that. 3, Comrade Yerima was the Undersecretary for the Department of Home Affairs under Comrade Sako. That means he is connected to the ground. This is a man who listens. This is a man I met in Germany, and I know he's rooted to our cause. This is a man who's carried Power Force back. He's carried Chief Ayamba's back to several diplomatic meetings in Europe. This is a man they have slept on the same bed. This is a man who's gone through our revolutionary school. This is a man ready to lead. And his message is, this is time to work. Let us just unify everybody. Comrade Sako, do the right thing, my brother. Come out on TV tomorrow. Leaders' words are powerful. I would like you to put a resignation letter to say, I stand down. I'm calling on all my followers, stand down. I'm calling on all surrogates who push me, stand down. And I order you, stand behind Comrade Yerima. This is a relay. You run, you get tired, you hand it to another person. We're not being paid. It is a relay. You cannot stick there and know this is dividing us. Let us unite our people. Let us unite our people. You know that every effort to get you to unite with us failed. That is why the last option had to be taken. Let Ambazonians equally know, as if to answer the question, but wasn't there another way to take out the acting president? No, there was no way, and I need to explain this. The Restoration Council is captured, and permit me use the word useless. I have a lot of respect for intelligent people inside there, but that's a fact. Secondly, the House of Country Representatives divided. The interim government doesn't respect the authentic house. If these two houses are out, who else can call an acting president to order? The public? If we were in a normal country, we will hold placards and go to the presidency. You cannot do that. The president acted in the best interest of our nation. The president put Ambazonia first. And I asked my brother to stand down, because if he stands down with the right words, we will unite. We don't want to fight in dispersed ranks. We can do better. Brother, I know you will do that. And I know we all will be able to forget everybody who's done things that are wrong, because these wrong things will not take us to Boya. It is our forgiving spirit that will take us to Boya. Fellow comrades, on ground zero, we would like to warn enablers. We would like to warn every single enabler who still wants to entrap our people in the name of one ever, and that begins from the colonial Prime Minister Chief John Gutem and so-called Mama Dio, who went around like a town crier. Why do you go to see your children and you put on bulletproofs, bullet hats? Why? You be mommy, why you no go like mommy? Mommy to go basket, you to go bulletproof, you to carry military all around you. It's a shame. It is a shame. It is a shame. Enablers, you know what to do. Go tell your master to pull out his brutal military. We will ask the lives of our people one after another from you guys when the struggle is finished. But I tell you, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you will not stop that. To our very valiant, very courageous restoration forces, we give you military salute. Thank you so much for defending Ambazonia on the 20th of May. Thank you so much for ensuring that across our 13 counties, including Bakassi as the 14th, the county with the deepest oil well in West Africa, we were able to tell the terrorist forces of La République du Cameroon that gone, we have gone. You put Ambazonia first, and for your sacrifices, we would never stop calling the consciences of some of these brothers and sisters in the diaspora to stand up and do the right thing. Fellow Ambazonians, some of you played a very important role on the 13th of May 2019 at the UN Security Council hearing on the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. We want to state this. Our case is that of independence or resistance forever. That was the Freedom Charter signed by our leaders in detention. independence or resistance forever. We will continue to resist colonial forces and all the enablers, all the associates, until we have a free Ambazonia. On behalf of the Ambazonian people, on behalf of the mothers and fathers who've lost very dear children in this struggle, on behalf of the Ambazonians who've sacrificed so much to ensure we move this struggle to the next level, we, the people of Ambazonia, want to thank Mr. Thibaut Nagy, the Under-Secretary of African Affairs of the United Nations, for his report to President Trump and the US government. We want to thank every single international party, whether it be country, NGO, human rights bodies, or personalities of influence, like Professor Lumumba of Kenya, who continue to stand to defend the interests of our people. There is movement, but we need to move with greater speed because we are tired of the war. Fellow compatriots, fellow countrymen, this is a time for Ambazonians to dialogue. Let us talk to each other. There's currently a raging debate on whether there should be a referendum. What is a referendum? Who conducts it? Who takes part in it? These are important salient questions that we need to unravel. These are important salient questions that we need to open. We need to ensure we take the debate into our book clubs, into our restaurants, into our offices. We cannot make the mistake of Fumban ever again. We cannot even allow a leadership ever again in Ambazonia to decide on our behalf. If I ever become a leader, even a chief security guard, I'm saying, before a decision is taken, we must reach out to the Ambazonian people and say, what do you think? So we, of course, expect Vice President Daphne Yerima to put out the Constitution for public hearing. Our people must talk into that Constitution. We are not asking the Vice President, we are telling him that's how it's done. We're equally saying, if he needs to put out some important policy announcements, he needs to put them out. I should be the first person to challenge Vice President Yerima. He's got my complete support, but he's not blind. He's got to earn it. I want to, on a concluding note, give my salutations to all our leaders in jail. Comrade Sisiku, Patasang, Pafo, Professor Wasum, Barrister Yembe, all of you, Barrister Shufa, all of you, we respect you. I want to give my special salutations to Comrade Mancho BBC, Comrade Penn Terence, Comrade C. Conrad, and all our leaders. I wish I could name all of you. To the great men and women in Nigeria and Ghana taking care of our refugees, those that have crossed over to Liberia, to the great men and women taking care of our internally displaced persons, including those in the La Republic diaspora. I thank you so much. I talked about let's create a caring society, and I challenge all Ambazonians, from today ask yourself, month by month, if not week by week, what have I done for Ambazonia? And if you're in the diaspora, you must ask yourself, how much money have I contributed? I believe we're turning a new page, we'll make this transition painless, and we'll get all our people focused. Thank you, God bless you, God bless Ambazonia, God bless our beautiful land. Ambazonia will be real. I see light at the end of the tunnel. Short live our struggle, and long live Ambazonia.